Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
You're listening to Simply Stogies, a monthly podcast dedicated to the cigar enthusiast. Light up a stogie, sit back and relax while James brings you along on his journey as a new cigar smoker. Simply Stogies will review cigars, discuss topics that cigar aficionados find important, and will probably learn a few things along the way. Now, here's your host of Simply Stogies, James.
Welcome to Simply Stogies. I am your host, James. Today is a special episode, very, very special episode. We are on location in and around Orlando, Florida. Longwood, Florida.
Yes.
And we are here at the Deep South Cigars. This is the warehouse of MJ
Frias Cigars.
MJ Frias Cigars. And we're here with Jeremy and his boy, Donovan.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much for having us on.
So before we get to them, we talk about Deep South Cigars, we talk about the industry, we talk about all the things they do and all the things they've got going on. Head over to creativebraincandy.com. Check out all the great family of podcasts there, including the newest podcast, Stay Wild, Trauma Child, podcast by a couple of women who deal with trauma in the way only they know how. They're not medical professionals, but they do say they need medical professionals. Check them out, creativebraincandy.com. Stay Wild, Trauma Child, and welcome them to the Creative Brain Candy family. So, Jeremy, Donovan again, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So, Jeremy, let's talk about you first. And let's talk about Deep South Cigars because you started Deep South Cigars.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been smoking cigars? Let's start there. Let's start at the beginning.
Gosh, I think I started smoking cigars when I was a schoolgirl. To be honest, I can honestly say I stole my first cigar when I was about 8 or 9 from my great uncle and my grandfather.
Oh, wow.
My grandparents raised me. So, yeah, it was some gnarly, like, Hava-Tampa that was in a box that said 5 cents. Gives you an idea how old and how stale it was. I had no clue. But that was my first cigar.
Tampa Jewels, yeah.
Dude, it was old. I swear the box was from, like, the 50s. But I was, like, 9 or 10. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And I started picking up cigars probably at, like, got back into them, I don't know, probably about 15 years ago, so in my mid-20s. Yeah.
So about 15 years, you've been smoking pretty steadily.
Yeah, I'm up to probably 10 to 12 cigars a day now, so I need to cut back. I was told recently by my doctor.
Well, fuck them.
Yeah, that's true. Bitches.
Right? What do they know? They're only doctors.
You know what? Here's the thing. There's more dead doctors annually than there are cigar smokers, I bet. I mean, like, if you look at the proportion, probably more doctors die from being doctors than cigar smokers.
Probably. Probably. I'd buy that.
Right?
So you've been smoking steadily for 15 years. You're smoking 10 to 12 a day now. What's your favorite stick of all time? Like, if you had the Desert Island cigar, we'll start with that bullshit question that everybody gets.
Right. Well, if I was stuck on a desert island, my most favorite would be whatever cigar I could get my hand on in the moment. However, if I could knowingly choose to be isolated on a desert island, it would probably be the cigar we're smoking right now. It is one that MJ Frias manufactures. So it is a 54 by 5.5. So basically it's like a Toro. It uses a Connecticut, Connecticut. It uses Nicaraguan and Dominican priming. A lot of Pennsylvania Lajaro is in it. Connecticut broadleaf binder, and what we're smoking is a Mexican San Andreas wraps. Nice and toothy.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really
absolutely.
Good.
That's the bulk of what I smoke every day. Probably at least eight of those are out of my selection in a day because I work here. And honestly, when I got the job, because my boss came to me and kind of headhunted me, I was like, yeah, sure, but I get to smoke all the cigars I want. That's part of our agreement, me coming to work here. Like, that cigar is what got me this position. And, like, I'm glad I came for the cigars, but the lifestyle far exceeds what the cigar brought in pay.
I want to talk about the lifestyle, but Donovan, let's go to you next.
Hello.
How long have you been smoking cigars? Because you're only 25. You're a young buck, as they say.
17, 18. My dad's going to kill me if he hears this, but yeah, like 17, 18.
I'll email him. Does he have email?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's AOL.
All right. So you've been smoking since you were 17 or 18.
Yeah.
How many are you up to a day? He's smoking 10 or 12. What about you?
I used to work at Corona here in Lake Mary, and at night shifts it would go up to like, so I'd get in at 5, right? And by the time I get in at 5, I had already smoked maybe 2 or 3 just casually, and it would get up to maybe 8 to 10 a shift, and it was quite ridiculous. Now I'm up to like maybe 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's not bad. 10 or 12. You're not the only person in the industry that smokes that many.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, well, I'm sitting talking about it. I'm doing it. Like if I don't have one, like
it feels weird.
It does feel weird. Yeah,
it's like a king without a crown. I mean, you don't know what to do. I can honestly say if I'm up at 7:30 in the morning, my first Maduro is lit. Within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm already started on what we're currently enjoying.
So you like the Maduro, you like the strong, spicy stuff.
Yeah,
first thing.
Absolutely. I'm also a big fan of Lancero. I mean, I know we're smoking more like a Toro right now, but I'm a fan of Lanceros just because like you get so much wrap versus priming. Like this blend in specific, like we also have some of these products in that size, and it's phenomenal. You get even more of that Laro, you get more of that Mexican San Andreas, like or the Retro Hail. And I smoke a lot, right? Still makes my eyes water if I do 2 or 3 Retro Hails in a row. Like it's burny.
So this had a closed foot with it. Like, it's like shaggy at the end.
Yeah, it's just a close where the wrap's allowed to go over and then kind of envelop it. So that first, if you do a Retro Hail right off the first light, it is nothing but pure wrap.
It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is so good. It's different than almost anything that I can think of that I've smoked recently.
It's a phenomenal cigar.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is really good. Aren't really a whole lot of harsh edges to it. It's very smooth. I really dig this.
And here's the thing. Those just came from our factory, not with, recently I have some that I've been aging for about 8 months, and I took a couple out of the box and smoked it with my boss because he has never had them aged because we honestly manufacture them and they're gone as soon as they get here. So like nobody has had a chance to smoke a really even age. I mean, 8 months isn't that long, but I'll tell you the aged it takes all that little edge off of it and it makes it, I pick up more floral notes, believe it or not.
Yeah, it mellows it out a lot. Yeah, it's absolutely. Like almost like you're smoking a box of raisins.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
I can see that floral raisins a little fruity a little bit, but not. Absolutely.
He definitely picks up on the fruity flavor.
So I want to get to how you got into the industry because obviously you didn't get into the industry right away, but you said you started at Corona, Donovan. Yeah. How'd that happen? Like you just like cigars and you're like, I want to work here?
One of my dads was cool with one of the managers there, and I would go there with him way before I could smoke. And
is that what he said?
Yeah, he said one of your dads. Is that like one of those? It got
no,
legal, so they're married now?
No. I did. Oh yeah, my! Did. I meant one of the managers. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, so my dad was cool with one of the managers.
I think it might be a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Daddy. And that's hilarious. You should email him this link, just this section. And I really didn't care for the cigars in the beginning. It was the people. I just thought everybody was there was cool as shit. It felt like what I said before, like one of those interesting Man in the World commercials where like you pan out and there's like all kinds of crazy characters and stuff. And every cigar bar we went to was like that. And so I just wanted to be surrounded by that more than the cigars. I didn't know jack shit about cigars when I first started working there. A select few of people taught me, little by little. And then I kind of did my own research from there. And then obviously smoking the 8 to 10 cigars a day helped a lot. But, you take breaks and then here and there because, if you eat caviar every day, it's just fish eggs, so like I would take breaks in between and do research instead of smoking 8 to 10 a day. But that really helped me, especially being on the retail side too, seeing how people act realistically, smoking cigars, buying them online and in the store.
Did you ever deal with or interact with any of the reps?
Yes.
Was that a trip? I've heard so many stories from.
Yeah, they're super cool. Everybody that's gone there is super cool. Christina from Ashton, Rex. Who else? We met Robert Caldwell. He's really cool. But yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole
those
different
field trips, those side field trips.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Jeremy, how did you get into the industry? Because getting into the industry, I've heard, is not the easiest thing to do.
I stumbled upon it.
Really?
Legit. I don't know. Maybe it's just the personality. The fact. Okay, so like to disclosure, I actually grew up on an equestrian facility. It's like a horse farm, right? So for us, at the end of the evenings, like work would get done, we'd still have clients there, and I'd befriended a good friend. His name's Juan, and I've been dabbling in cigars, but they were like lower quality. Let's be honest, they were like Fumas and stuff like that. Like I didn't get into the good stuff until maybe within the last decade or so, just because I was younger and broke, Right. But a cigar is still a cigar, even at that point.
For sure.
He introduced me to some higher quality stuff. His family was from Santo Domingo, and he would go over there and he'd come back with a bunch of La Auroras, and he'd be like, here you go. So even back then, I didn't really know, like, I could pick up on quality, but I hadn't, refined my palate yet. So he'd gotten me kind of into doing that stuff and smoking with him, and we would sit and talk for all of us collectively. Sometimes we'd have 20 or 30 people hanging out around the barn just talking. So I spent my entire life like baptized in the art of bullshit. And in this industry, there's so much is the quality product. Like we both acknowledge we're smoking a good quality product right now.
Yeah.
But really, this industry is about interpersonal relationships and the ability to connect. Because I can sit at a lounge with a multimillionaire, as we literally do at our lounge, and 20 minutes later, I can give one of my cigars to a homeless guy outside. I don't care. Like the cigars are the universal connectivity that bonds people from all different religions, socioeconomic standards, races. It doesn't matter. And in that, I found that just talking and hanging out with people. So I also worked at Corona as well. I was only there for about 6 months. I do not know how Donovan did it for 8 years or something like that.
Me either. I
8
don't
years.
know.
Towards the end of the 6 months for me, I was needing to take Xanax just to go to work because all the drama and crap that was going on.
Really?
So I graciously bowed out with a middle finger salute. And was just kind of doing my own thing, because at the time I was hosting weddings for our local city, as an events planner and stuff like that. On the side, I also while I was at Corona, I turned on my lathe wood pins, high end pins, and
that's a very nice pin, by the way.
Thank you very much. I take pride in my work. But when reps and stuff would come in, and some of the other guys, I would put the Opus X bands underneath of them, and I would just do I did a beautiful one. It was I used a white synthetic body, and then I did an Atabey on it, so it looked like the Atabey box.
It was so nice.
It was gorgeous, and it actually went down to Cuba to the owner of Atabey. The rep commissioned me to make it, so I was making these nice pins, and somebody's like, "Hey man, you should go out and start trying to promote your pins at all the lounges around here." Long story short, I found myself in Sanford, which is a town just north of here.
Right.
And I'm talking with this guy about, seeing if I can maybe get make up one of his business pins with his band on. And he's like, we're talking. He's like, I heard there's a manufacturer in Longwood. I'm like, horse shit. There's no way. I've been in Longwood. I was born in Longwood. I've been here for 40 freaking years. There's no manufacturer. He's like, no, bro. He's like, you got to just go up Ronald Reagan Boulevard, and it's somewhere near the historic district. I'm like, dude, I own a house in the historic district. I know there was no lounge at the time. There was nothing. Well, he said it, and I was like, you know what? It's time to start looking. And I hunted this area for probably 2 days. Anytime I was passing through, I was looking, and I finally found our previous location was, in a plaza area, and one whole side had just bales of tobacco, and the other side was their office area. And so finally I'm going by, and I just see these silhouettes of cigars up on the glass windows, and I'm like, son of a bitch, there is one.
There is one.
So I walk in and I meet my boss. His name's Chris Frias. I walk in and he comes rolling out with some boat slippers and his gangster swagger. He's like, "How you doing?" His Guido necklace.
Dude, he comes with background music.
That's Chris.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
That's exactly what you meant. And he's just like, "How you doing?" And I was just like, I like this guy. So we just started smoking cigars and BS. And I remember he actually gave me one of these Royales. And right off the bat, I lit it up, and the first puff was a retro hit. I did 3 of them, because for me, that's fresh palate. I want to know that hit. And he's like, "Dang, you a gangster," something like that. He just kind of said something in passing, and he's like, "Let me get your number." So we kind of coordinated, "Hey, when are you going to be in the shop? Because I need to pick up more cigars." So I started buying directly from them. Screw any of the lounges. Because we're licensed here to sell wholesale and retail, so they can do both. You could walk in and buy here. So I started doing that, and I don't know, I was chilling at my house one day, and Chris calls me up because I'd been trying to get into this lounge that I heard was opening, which is our lounge. I didn't know how everything was. It turns out everybody knows everybody, So not our lounge, it's our friends that own the lounge. Sorry, but it's all one big family.
Right.
And he's like, "Man, you don't want to do retail." He's like, "You want to come sell cigars for me?" And I'm like, I've sold retail. He's like, He's like, come with me. I'm like, all right. So literally, he had never had a sales rep. I'd never been in this position. And we just went for it. Like, we came in both, not green, because he'd already acquired some big names in the industry, being his regular old self with his swagger. But we came in, we had no idea what we were doing. We're staring at each other and we're like, all right. So I literally went, I'd pull up a city and hit Google, and I would just hit every single lounge and just call details, what they want. And through time, like, I've learned to do cover letters. We learned to do stuff. Like, we literally have grown together in the last 8 months, and it's just been like trial by fire, absolutely trial by fire. And, but it's been awesome, to see the growth as exponential as it has grown so fast. And then, like, Donovan over here, like, I worked with him, and he was my absolute most favorite, like, fellow coworker. He's always humble. Oh, I love you too. And no, but seriously, like, he's witty. He's a smart ass like me. We can go back and forth with dick jokes all day long and keep him running. I will literally, and Ed was our other sales associate over here. I'm literally trying to close a deal for like $25,000 worth of cigars the other day. And on my dry erase board in front of me is getting drawn this huge veiny cock. It's hard to concentrate when they're drawing dick pictures, and you're just like, yeah, so what was that blend you're wanting again? Like, we're trying to have this civil conversation, and there's just flying penises going by. And so that's my work environment for the most part.
Right. It's funny. Normally when I have people on in the industry, it's very, I don't want to say it's uptight, but it is very buttoned up. It's very, this is business, and that's what we're going to do. And when I walked in today, I want to kind of give our listeners a little insight into it. You looked at me and you're like, so do I have to fucking censor myself or what? Because we swear like sailors. Like, are you going to edit this shit? I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not how I do shit. Because I swear like sailors too. So you guys, it's very laid back. It's a very, I don't want to say it's casual because it's business, but you get business done, but you're yourself. And I think that's, I think that's important.
I don't like the concept of fakeness or facades.
And there's
really
a lot of that.
Ain't
nobody got time for that
through the phone and everything. When you're making deals, it's like you told me, like you resonate with their personality if you're being genuine. It's not like a cookie cutter personality that's like 50% for everybody. It's like you're 100% not for everybody, but it's those ones that matter.
So you've worked retail. I was retail management for 20 plus years. I know that game too. And it is a lot of getting to know somebody and kind of feeling them out and seeing what they're all about. And then once you click with them,
right,
that's when you can go.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for how long now in the industry?
Oh God, let's see. It's been forever, like 8 months.
8 months.
8 months I've been in this position.
And you guys are rocking and rolling.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
In 8 months, I've started 2 online businesses with my business partner. I'm doing the sales rep stuff. We bought a printing company, like that actually does a cigar band. So like cigarband.com. Like like we have people coming from all over the world now actually coming and finding us, not just through MJ. So like it's blowing up.
It's very cool. Cause you reached out to me on Instagram and you were like, hey, you want to review this? So I've got the 770 BBC, which that stands for exactly what
does.
You think it stands for.
Ooh, yeah.
The big black cock. It is a 7x70. I thought it was a 5-pack. I was telling you, I thought it was a 5-pack that I bought. It comes, it's 4. And I'm like, there's only 4 in here. What the, like, these cigars are massive. I can't wait to smoke them. So look for that review. That would be hilarious if they came with
taste horrible
with like a Magnum.
No, I meant
Oh no, but if you just right, that would taste like
Magnum prophylactic. Yes.
Yeah, just have the Magnum on the.
I'll think about that for future reference.
That'd be hilarious.
Our Magnum patch, a pack of lighter matches comes with it.
Yes.
Oh dang! Put that in your things to remember.
So you're doing well, even though you brought Donovan on board, because he was saying earlier he looks like a cross between Zach Galifianakis
and a homeless Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
That's pretty descriptive, actually.
It's pretty right on.
Right?
Yeah.
So how long have you been here working with him?
How long has it been? Like
working.
4 months we've been working. Yeah, like 4 months, 3 months.
February.
Since February, yeah.
3 months. 3 months-ish.
Oh, wow. And that's when you quit Corona?
Yeah.
How was it? Was it you liked working there, right?
I really did like working there. Some of the people were quite exhausting, let's be honest.
Well, that's retail.
Yeah, that's retail. But yeah, I really did like working there. Like genuinely helping people with the experience of smoking a cigar. Not correctly, but like properly at least. Pairing it, because it's subjective when you smoke it correctly, but like, pairing it with things or like, how to, be on their journey with them, like, hey, here's this.
Shepherding somebody into the hobby.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because sometimes they'll come in, or like their buddy will give them like a Cuban or something on a cruise, and they turn green because it wasn't really a Cuban, and they're smoking like rat hairs or something. And so now they never want to touch cigars again. And it's like, no, this is a beautiful experience. You can meet all kinds of cool people. Like, try this, Davidoff 1000, or like something small, light.
Your profile, your portfolio, you have something for everybody.
So amongst our different businesses, like the other businesses, am I allowed to say the business name? I'm not trying to like do some shameless self-promotion thing.
Yeah, say the business name.
Sorry, it's CasaCigarClub.com. So basically, we cover anything. Anything from a cigarello up through the BBC. I mean, you name it. The profiles, the sizes, like, and when we have a manufacturer, they're done all with synthetic molds, so like you don't get the distortion issues. The construction's on point. But as far as flavors and profiles, I mean, you name it, from Candela through Mexican San Andreas, and any size you want. Like, I hate to sound so vague, but truly, if you can think it, we can make it or have it made. Like, it's there. The Casa is more along the lines of, it's literally like Casa Cigar Club. Casa being Spanish for house. The joke is because my boss and his brother, they have houseblendsdirect.com, and he's like, you can't have it too close. So ironically, two Spanish guys have House Blends Direct, and the two gringos have Casa Cigar Club, which is kind of the joke, because we were sitting around one day, we're just like, what the hell are we going to do? So my business partner, just kind of being facetious, he threw it. I was like, fine, we're just going to go with Casa. My boss, the Dominican, he's like, sounds good to me. And it has been born, so
That's awesome.
we got good traction there. But the Deep South was more like my baby, like my little, I definitely love being Southern, like I said, minus the racist part. Like, outside of that, like, I've got deuce and a halves. I've got a Unimog. I've got lifted trucks, lowered trucks. I've got more guns than any sane white person should have. I live in a Victorian era house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Southern, fishing equipment and guns in every vehicle.
You
I
are
own.
the quintessential Southern gentleman.
I reckon y'all would be right.
All right.
I wouldn't say quintessential.
Gentleman with a question mark.
Yes.
Right. When I think of Florida, I don't think of the South.
But it is.
But it is.
Yeah, it's third to secede. I'm just going to point that out. Not that that says you're
Third to
relevant.
secede. Good God.
Provided indigo and pork. I'm just saying, it was Southern. I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was Southern. Yeah, for sure. But you don't, like, Florida doesn't have the accent. Like, my parents moved to Georgia,
Too many Yankees.
and they got the accent.
Yeah, well, but when we think about it, who comes to Florida? Oh, wait, because we don't have all the crazy, like, as far as taxes are better than New York. As far as inheritance taxes are better.
There's a lot of people migrating from the north to Florida.
And unfortunately, I mean, that's cool, I guess, and I'm not trying to sound like I dislike anybody from anywhere, because I don't. But the landscape or the topography of our culture is definitely changing. And I think that's kind of unfortunate. Like, I think every culture has its value and its place. But unfortunately, like, people love stomping out Southern culture, and it really gets my craw.
And they do it for, just like you said, it's sans racism. And that's why they do it, because they equate Southern culture with racism. And that's
Instead of butter.
And I'm just bless your heart.
instead of butter, biscuits and gravy, like high cholesterol, clogged arteries,
all the good things,
all the good stuff.
Right?
It's now we're
deep
just
fried butter. Like, who doesn't like deep fried butter?
I don't think I've ever had deep fried.
I haven't either, but I hear it's phenomenal.
It sounds like it's like deep fried bacon. How could it be bad?
Seriously. They actually, like, I've heard of I've seen some friends that went to fairs, and it was like, yeah, they had this thing called deep fried butter, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a freaking heart attack.
So. I'm from Iowa. I'm fairly confident the Iowa State Fair has deep fried butter.
Oh
I
my
think that's a
God.
thing. They always have butter sculptures and bullshit. Yeah, whatever. All right, so let's talk about Deep South Cigars. So
Okay.
let's talk about from seed to shelf, right?
Okay.
So where's it grown?
A Nicaraguan. It's Nicaraguan and Dominican prime. And we do have some puros, but most of it's a mix of the two, just because, like, those two, I mean, we are the company, but, like, we still work with the manufacturer I work for. I mean, it's just a reality. Like I'm here. Like, I'll be like, hey boss, let's come out with a new blend. Hey boss, let's do this. This is my concept. Let's do this. And he's like, okay. So, like, I'm super blessed in the fact that, like, I get to have an idea, I sketch it out, and I hand it to my boss, and he goes, all right, it'll be in. And that's it. Like, there's none of this BS. Or I can go, hey, I really like this cigar, but what if we tweak it a little bit? And he's just like, play on, player, and he walks off. And next thing I know, there's samples show up. I mean, the first, like, month that I was working here, like, I like to smoke a pipe as well.
I'm sorry.
A pipe, like
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a pipe guy.
Yeah, I got you.
I would rather have, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, all of my, like the ritual, I want that on the front end where you're curating and you're messing with the humidity and how your collection and how you keep them.
Yeah.
I'd rather have all of that. I don't want to sit there and break up tobacco. When I want to smoke, I just want to smoke. I want to cut it, light it, and relax, and not.
That's fair.
So I'm not a big pipe guy, but
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you want all the babying to be done while taking care of them, not while you're trying to enjoy it.
right.
That makes a lot of sense.
That is valid. I mean, I smoke a pipe more in the winter.
That makes. But you live in Florida.
Bro, it hit 9
He
degrees
smokes the
3
pipe
nights
2
in a
days out
row.
of the year.
Look, 9 degrees is 9 degrees.
Jesus Christ. Look, it was negative 30 for a while where I live.
Well, you know what?
The
Move to
wind
Florida
hurt-
like everybody else.
The wind hurt my face.
Oh, I'm
Why
sorry.
do I live in a place where the wind hurts my face?
Because you're a masochist?
Apparently.
Okay.
We want. Look, my wife's a huge Disney file. She wants to move here.
So just move here like everybody else.
Yeah, no thanks.
But where I was going to go with this is I like it, but it is cumbersome. Like I do pottery as well. So like there's a lot of times I can sit a cigar down and work. A pipe, it's just not convenient for being physically active while smoking.
Right.
At least I find. So I went to my boss. I'm like, yo, I want to do some flavored cigars, but I want to try pipe tobacco. So they're like a fuma, long fill, and then we put the pipe tobacco on the insides of them. They were phenomenal. Absolutely. So you get that sweetness of smoking a pipe, but you're still smoking a premium cigar.
That's awesome.
Oh, they were so amazing. The only problem is the pipe tobacco costs so much here in the U.S. and then it wasn't cost effective. So I got like this limited run of cigars that were done with like nice, good quality pipe tobacco in them, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So I would like to bring that into the equation, but I hear the FDA is now talking about banning flavored cigars.
Yeah.
Communists.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Because they're
my
going after
God.
menthol cigarettes because they say it's disproportionately affecting the African American community. That was what they listed.
That's
under
what they listed it as. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're going to throw they're going to throw flavored cigars in there.
Flavored
as well.
cigars. Yeah. Like any
Under the same category.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Now, whether that sticks or not, like they've said they don't want to come after the premium cigar industry.
Yeah.
That's what they've said.
Yeah, right.
So we'll see if that holds. Are you worried about that? About the FDA at all, or you just do your thing and let them figure it out?
You know what? I don't want to say no comment to that because like I do have some concern on some aspects, but in the other one, look, human beings have an amazing way of getting over hurdles and continuing to exist. You know what? You build a good mousetrap, they say you make a better mouse. So like,
Yep.
fuck them. Like they're the FDA. And what pisses me off is there are people that act like they're these authorities that have descended down from on heaven
Yeah.
to say, oh, you know what? You're too stupid. Let me worry about your health. It's like, oh, you're going to get mad about that because what? 1 out of 100,000 kids might smoke a flavored cigar they steal from their father or grandfather like I did. But yet you have a Coca-Cola machine in every school.
Yep.
And we already know obesity kills people far greater. I mean, look at it. Neither one of us is showing a six pack.
No,
like
none of
we're
us
a
are.
living example.
Pack of jelly rolls.
Exactly. Like my six pack's hidden under the keg. Like it is a joke to think that they really care about people's health.
No, it's a way to control.
Absolutely. And that's all it is. It's all any of these things are. It's just a power grab.
Yep.
I mean, if I had the actual ability to look them in the eyes, like,
It's frustrating, isn't it?
it really is because it's this arrogance of superiority. It's
That's
really what
exactly
it boils down
that's
to.
what it is.
You're too stupid to know, so we're going to worry for you. I mean, it is the same concept of like the SJW stuff going on. Like, oh, those group of people aren't smart enough to be offended. So because I'm this way, I'm going to be offended for you because you're too
Yeah.
dumb. Really? Maybe I'm just not as sensitive as you are. Maybe what I think, how you feel is stupid. Like, oh, just the arrogance.
I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, I know.
That road, because I'm with you. I'm in the same lane as you are on that road, but that road leads to a lot of anger for no reason.
Here's the thing. I studied poli-sci in college for a while, and I got so mad at the end of every class. Like I would I can't legally say what I would want to do, but like it would make me want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was myself and a couple other gentlemen who had served in the military, and we were front of the class, dress right in the front, closest to information. And I remember the first day of the class, this our teacher comes in. It was an American government class. He walks in, puts his hands on his waist. He goes, "I'm a socialist and an institutionalist, and if you don't like that, you're not going to get a good grade in here."
Yep.
needless to say, the three of us didn't get the best grades, and we argued every single class. But towards the end of the semester, myself and one of these gentlemen, we were talking about the concept of like when you swear an oath to defend the Constitution. And I was like, but you know what? The problem is we are in a higher education. Like this is in college, right? And we're going on about it. He's like, well, he's like, people know their rights. So it's like, let's make a gentleman's bet. And we actually went down to like the mezzanine area, like where everybody's hanging out and like doing whatever dumb stuff it is college kids do. Because we're all a little bit older at this point. We're in our 30s.
Right.
Early 30s. And I went around, I interviewed 8 random people. And I chose from different 2 of the different sexes and different races. I had, out of 18 people interviewed, I had one person kind of go, the First Amendment means you can, like print newspapers.
Well, he's not wrong.
Yeah. I'm like, what about the other parts of it? Nobody knew anything. And this isn't a college setting.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
they don't teach that stuff. It's easier to control if they don't know.
Ignorant sheep are always easier to control.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What about the financial, like the Rockefellers and everyone taking out financial literacy?
Mm-hmm.
That's evil. That's so evil because like 2 years ago, I had to ask to use the bathroom and now I have to do my taxes. Like what?
Yeah.
And you don't even teach me how?
Right.
At least, like, I'm not saying like, ooh, here's the little loopholes and secrets, but at least teach me how.
There's no class on how to balance a checkbook.
Compounding interest?
Yeah.
No.
Compound interest? Yeah, there's none of that.
My
You have to
daughters
go
are-
digging for that information.
My daughters are 11 and 14, and I currently have them reading a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And I mean, this talks about the very thing. I didn't learn about it until I was in my late 30s. Like, I didn't even know the book exists. It's like, why is this not mandatory in schools?
That's what they want.
Compounding interest, like, ugh.
Well, college as a whole, I mean, now that we're down this rabbit hole, college as a whole, I feel is kind of a pyramid scheme anyway,
Yeah.
set up by the government.
What do you think?
And
You can't
now
even
it's
file
all
bankruptcy on the fucking.
And now it's going to, but now it's going to collapse because of that. And
Yeah.
they're going to have to start forgiving loans across the board.
Yeah.
College shouldn't be nearly as expensive as it is.
Because they need to buy those big flashy buildings while they've proven the quality of education hasn't gone up at all.
When you go to a college and you have to spend $1,000 on 2 or 3 books for one class, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And they changed 3 words in like the 5th chapter on one paragraph, so you have to get it. Trust me.
Yep.
Yeah, I get you.
It's
I feel
ridiculous.
you.
It's ridiculous.
Pick it up what you're laying down.
Let's talk about the creative process because you seem
Yeah.
like a very creative guy, and there's a lot of
Definitely autistic. I mean, artistic.
when people who come up with cigars, right? People,
Yeah.
it's an art.
You're right.
It is a creative outlet. Talk about your creative process. Like, what is it? What does that look like for you?
Wow. Do you mean like the compositions, or do you mean like what's the branding coming off as, or how do we market?
All of the above. Let's start with
Okay.
when you have a concept. What is that like? How do you come up with the concept for a new cigar? And then from there, what does that look like?
How do I come up with a concept for a new cigar? A lot of times, honestly, I'll come up with the marketing aspect of it before the cigar, and I'll find a cigar that fits it. Like the BBC we were speaking about. That was a byproduct of us hanging out at the lounge, and somebody was smoking like a 660 that was done in an Oscuro, like, the Dominican, how they dye them, they're darker, like the Ligas, like they kind of have that oily sheen to them.
Right.
They're smoking one of those, and I'm like, dude, it looks like you're sucking on a black cock. So everybody laughs and jokes, and I'm like, light bulb. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I am going to, like, literally, I was, everybody chuckling. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come out with a cigar called the BBC. Everybody looks at me like it would never take off. Ha ha ha. You're full of shit. And I'm like, all right, fuckers, challenge accepted. Like, you tell me I can't do something, it's going to go down. Like that's all it takes. Fortunately at the time, the gentleman that MJ Frias works with, it manufactures the bands. He and I, we were on a, name to name basis. So I did a loose sketch. I wanted this big black cock on the center portion of the ring and BBC flanked on the side. And he chuckles and he's like, all right, man. 1 week later, because he had that fast of a turnaround time, I get my printed bands. I got like 1,000 of them for the first run. And, so we band some of them up. We bring them into the very same shop that I was told it wouldn't work. And I sold like 3/4 of a box the first night. And he's like, son of a bitch. The shop owner, he's like, son of a bitch. He's like, I guess people do like them. So
everybody wants a BBC.
Everybody does, right? So,
Oh my God.
and that was when they were 660s. So I was like, you know what? There's some traction here. Let's do.
Yeah, that was during the winter months.
Yeah.
Right.
And then summer came around and they turned into
70s.
I didn't even think about that. So, but yeah, we done it that way, and
Well,
I
there's
did
shrinkage, and when it's cold outside, there's
Yeah,
shrinkage.
there's
That's the
shrinkage,
joke.
yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, I just want to make
I mean,
sure.
I know you're
everybody
from.
else
Where are you
knows.
from again? Oh,
Iowa.
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 Yeah, I'm sure you know about the cold. 30 degrees below.
30. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Do you pee in the snow? I mean, or does it just go
No,
on?
it freezes.
That would be amazing.
Oh, God.
I like yard art. See, I literally have a house. I walk outside to pee in my yard probably 80% of the time just because it's like being back on the farm. I hate peeing in the house. Literally. Like people
Meanwhile,
go by and
the
I'm just
chipmunks
waving.
are just like, oh my God.
My neighbors, they just know. Like open a truck door and you stand behind the truck door. Like I got my 74 F100. I think I use that more than actually going into my bathroom.
There is something almost cathartic about peeing outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate about leaving the farm. Like my family sold our farm about 4 years ago. And it's like, I want to be able to go outside, pee in my yard, shoot a gun in the air, and my neighbors just wave at best because they want to make sure everything's okay. You know, I had the cops called on me because I was shooting my recurve in my yard. Cops show up. They're like, oh, you can't do this. I'm like, it's my property. Like, you can't shoot a bow and arrow in the center of the historic district. I'm like, whatever, commie. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Yeah, but anyways, I digress. Let's go back to where we were. Where were we?
Creative process.
Creative process. That's how it is. You know, like I love.
That was a good loop callback. That was great.
You know, it kind of goes back. I mean, quite literally, there's just lots of things from being like just life in general. I pull from the BBC. It was somebody saying I couldn't do it. It was calling it my buddy, and out of that, you know, he shows up at the bands and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I'm retiring." He goes, "You want to buy my band printing company?" Now, me kind of wanting my own little security and all of this thing, I didn't tell anybody at first. Like, we got everything ironed out and we bought because the company just manufactures like the coverings for the boxes. Like, if you want to do like, you know, the like not like a wood box, you can do it, but like the cardboard, like almost like a Fuente box, as with the pretty designs.
Yep.
But our main thing is we do bands, and we do bands well, and we do them in like a week. Where the average turnaround is almost 8 weeks out for most people. That's the graphic design side, produced, and shipped. Like a 7-day window. And that is a fast turnaround.
That is a fast turnaround.
And that's our thing. So, and the nice thing is, like, we're like, hey, Bear, if you got an idea, we'll do it. Like, we're actually working with a gentleman right now. He's out of Hungary, and we're trying to get an exclusive rights to do metal bands. They're 1mm embossed pewter bands.
Ooh.
I ain't seen anybody else doing that.
No.
So we're finalizing that partnership with him. So we're just trying to stand out because we know there's some bigger manufacturers in the area, and you know what? We can't go around cutting everybody's throats at like 1 cent per band. It's just not going to happen. But everybody has their niche. But we're like, hey, if it's funny or it's catchy, let's try it. Like, we don't care. Like, if you got an idea, we'll do it. I don't care. You want to put BBCs and Magnums and tie knots in them and send them, and somebody will buy them? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You know?
He's got to be fun to work for, Donovan.
Oh, yeah.
Is he like this all the time?
Unfortunately.
Where he starts a line of thought, and then you go down that rabbit hole, and then you loop back to what it was?
said
That was
ADD.
a great callback, though. That
You
callback
did
was
say
rare.
ADD.
I told you have it.
Which
It's a superpower, bro.
It is, but creative people are like that.
Yes. Yeah.
You are you're focused on one thing, but you're also focused on 18 other different, you know, and then you'll come back to this and you'll just kind of go down the line and back and forth. Does that get annoying for you?
Oh, I love it. I actually have a wall in my house, and it's just drawings, sketches, and concepts of artwork or whatever it is, or ideas. I keep my pen on me and a notepad, and if I have an idea, I have to write it down now because it might be gone in 8 seconds, and it literally won't return. I'll go back and I'll look back through my little catalog, my little moleskin I carry in my back pocket. I'm like, this is a phenomenal idea, and I'm like, wait, this is my idea. I just completely forgot I thought of it, and it might have been 8 months prior. I'll actually go through some of my old stuff and I'll look at them. I'm like, this is cool. This is, wow, I really thought of that. Like, and so then I'll pull it back out, and then all of a sudden something new and creative launches, and I'd forgotten about it for 8 months.
I'm surprised that no one has kind of fought the FDA on some of this stuff on a First Amendment level, because it is an art from the cigar itself to the box to the band. It's all art. It is a creative outlet. It is it's an extension of the creator.
Yes, it is.
So from a First Amendment point of view, I don't think they'll ever be able to put like they do in Canada and Australia, where they're like, nope, no bands. You got to cover up the box. None of that.
They do that there?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason I don't pay attention to them.
Right. But I'm just surprised that nobody has fought the FDA on with that talking point yet.
Yeah. Because this is different than like a cigarette. For instance, cohiba, like the word cohiba, that means smoking circle. So, I mean, that right there, that's really how you're supposed to enjoy a cigar. Really, that's why they sell them in boxes, so you can buy them for a group of people.
For a group of people, absolutely.
And then you enjoy, 2 cigars a person, group of 5, and you know, it's time well spent with your group of
with
people.
friends, with family,
with friends.
with-
Yeah, that's what really it's all about. And then that actually there's a little Easter egg in Atabey. Oliver told me this is really cool. So Atabey is the god of fertility, right?
Right.
So Cohiba is the smoking circle. Behike, you know the Cohiba Behike.
Mm-hmm.
So that name Behike, that is the name of the shaman that is communicating with the god of fertility during that whole ceremony,
Oh, wow.
which is Atabey. So it was like a little Easter egg in there, and you can see the similarities between the little bands and everything. That
is, I never knew that. That's
it's
pretty
really
cool.
It's really cool.
That's really, so you learned a lot of that kind of stuff as a rep, or
Yeah.
as, what's it like being a rep?
It's pretty wild on this side of the industry to see the difference on not only the prices obviously, but like really how easy it is to talk to these people, to the people that are supposedly, you know, as a person that's on the floor shopping for a cigar, you see, you know, you're like, oh my God, Fuente, or like he's going to be at this place, and I'm not saying that they're not anybody, but like I had a conversation with, what's her name? I think with the sister. I had a conversation with her in the Tampa lounge. Didn't even know it was her. Had a conversation with her about food that lasted about 2 hours with Tanya, Jeff's wife. And like we were all laughing and joking, and I didn't even know it was her. They told me after the fact. I was like, this is awesome.
A lot of people, but this goes back to what cigars were meant to be, which is, you know, something to be, it's a communal experience. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It is a very, you get to meet people and you talk. You said it's pretty much, it's a great equalizer.
It is. It
really
truly
is.
is the greatest equalizer I've ever seen. Because, you know, money divides. I mean, we all want to have more of it, but, you know, beside the point. But the cigar is that one thing where everybody has to sit down, chill out, and talk. I mean, I have found more phenomenal business opportunities. I've met great friends now, and it's all always been over a cigar. So we might not be worshiping a fertility goddess, but we are still doing the same thing.
The same thing
eons
that they were.
later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just enjoying life and smoking something that tastes great and sharing community. Because you and I might be having this conversation, but 30 seconds before you step out the door, you might say that one thing that resonates the rest of my life.
Probably not. Probably
It
not.
is still a possibility. So, I mean, and that's the great thing. And like, once you kind of get over on this side as a sales rep and you get to see this side of the business, like a lot of the mysticism is gone. Like, you know,
Yeah, like I'll go to a lounge now and I'll be looking at it differently. I'll be like, oh, wow, interesting choice. They chose this die cut instead of that die cut. Or like, you know, like, oh, they couldn't afford to do a box of 10, so they did a box of 8. But it looks cool. You know what I mean? And like the different frames and everything just on this side, you know that information. So it's not that it doesn't work. It still works, which is funny because like the markup is ridiculous on cigars. Everybody knows it.
Dude,
and then I'll still fanboy about it because it's really just a frame. Like I said this on Alex's podcast, the Elwa Wednesday from Foundation, the Lancero. I bought it still at $14-15, knowing damn well that it's probably way cheaper. But that's not the point. It's like
well,
Yeah.
but
that's what's crazy about it. It just still makes me laugh that I'm on this side of the industry, and it's like,
but this is what I try to explain to my wife, and I try to explain to people who aren't in the hobby.
Right.
Is that you're not paying for just the cigar. You're paying for the experience. You're paying for the time you're spending smoking it, whether it's by yourself and just being reflective and introspective, or you're with other people and you're being, you know, an extrovert and you're talking and you're communing and you're petting your sales rep, like whatever it takes.
good boy.
God damn it.
What do you want people to know about Deep South Cigars before we kind of dive into the industry and how incestuous it is and all of those things? What do you want people to know about Deep South Cigars?
Wow, that, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I mean, the reality is, like I said, I want to, and I am. I'm generating a brand that is just hopefully representative of Southern culture in a lot of ways, because like there will be more products come out that are just hinting or giving a nod to Southern culture, little anomalies, things that I think are uniquely Southern. I mean, let's be honest, we're not growing a lot of tobacco in the South anymore, so all these cigars are coming from other regions. And cigars are like 80% branding. I will also point out though that like some of our lines, like we're doing one called Well Digger, and the vast majority of the profit margins are going to have wells dug in at need areas in the world.
Oh, that's awesome.
For people, so they're not dying of simple things
Yeah.
like, unclean water.
That's awesome.
So like, and the thing is, people always picture like, oh, when you think of people in need, you think of somebody that's usually traditionally a lot darker than you and somewhere over there. Over there could be Haiti or Africa or, down in the Caribbean. But the reality is, there's parts of the U.S. that, the WHO's come into, I think it was Arkansas maybe, and they're like, you know what, these are third world conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't want to make it specifically locked into anywhere geographically. But definitely, like, we're trying to do good stuff with our profit margins. Am I going to say we're not keeping any? No, but I'm going to say it's definitely more than like, a nickel out of every dollar profits going to some. No, we're legitimately trying to help people here.
Yeah.
And I think that does in some ways go back to the Southern culture because, like, you would help your neighbors. Still to this day, my buddy calls me up, he's like, hey, I got my truck stuck. It's 3 a.m. It's out in the middle of the woods. I'm not going to be like, sorry about your luck. I'm getting up and I'm going to go help my buddy. I'm sure that quality is everywhere, but I just
don't
know it to be here.
When it's 30 degrees below outside, you might just have to wait until tomorrow when it's 0.
I got you.
Right.
Well, we don't have to worry about that
No,
here, as
you
you
don't.
pointed out. There's no snow to contend
No.
with or frozen anything.
It's
so.
funny driving through and I see signs on the road that say bridges will ice before the road does. I'm like, when the fuck does it ice down here?
Mm-hmm. It does. Most
Yeah.
certainly does.
I don't believe you.
It's okay. You don't have to.
I don't believe you.
But,
But Southern hospitality is a thing.
Yes, it is.
And so that it goes right into that. It's just part of Southern culture.
It is, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of beauty in the South that people are trying to eradicate, be it that they just, again, like we touched on it earlier, like everything that people associate with Southern is they always associate racism. And I'm like, there's so much beauty in the South. And I'm trying to maybe draw some attention to that with some folklore that I'm going to use in the illustrations or part of the band work that will be incorporated into it with it as well. Part of the reason I wanted to do it is my long-term goal is I want to own a bunch of lounges. So more than anything, I want to have some cool ass lounges that are themed very Southern, very rustic aesthetics. Maybe some weird taxidermy.
Like a Cracker Barrel for cigars.
Yeah, kind of a mix of that with
exactly
like the
what I was
main
thinking.
entrance of Bass Pro Shops, like that gorgeous tin work, like
Yeah.
something with that aesthetic that just is more laid back. And I know in this area, a lot of it is more Spanish themed. Like there's definitely more Latin themed to most of the lounges, and that's fine. Like the Latins are making the cigars, but you know what? The South can have some of their own Southern-esque feel lounges. And that's my long-term goal. Like that's what our goal is. And at the end of the day, like my business partner and I both have that same idea, but this is kind of my pet project. Like we've got our other lines. Like we have one we're going to launch. It's called Stillwell. And turns out like my great uncle, his name was Vinegar Joe Stillwell. So he was, you've heard of Patton and all these other guys during World War II.
Vinegar Joe?
Yes, my great uncle.
Wow.
So Vinegar Joe Stillwell?
No, it's just vinegar. I've
Well,
never
he was
heard
very
somebody-
caustic.
Okay.
Joseph Stillwell was his name. So he was a 4-star general in China, Burma, and India. He was in charge of them during World War II, repelling the Japanese.
Oh, wow.
So like I'm trying to launch that. I would love to get into the Asian market because that's a common. I mean, he literally kept the Japanese from conquering them. Like I'm trying to use that as a marketing thing, but like everybody knows it's like hard to get your cigars into China. So I got all these little pet projects, but the Deep South, that's the thing that like really I wanted to do it because I have 2 daughters, they're 11 and 14, and I wanted to have them give them some stability because. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I had kids, I mean, the reality is I'd have my deuce and a half with a camper on the back converted into a micro home and I'd be up in the woods just fishing and hunting
Right.
and smoking
Yeah.
cigars. Like I'm doing this because I want to
Dipping in
leave.
cans at the end of every sentence.
Well, I gave up dipping a long time ago. But I mean, the reality is I would be that recluse, putting trot lines out and just enjoying life.
Most men would, though.
Exactly. So, I mean, like we make these little things. We're responsible to make sure that they do the best that they can. And for me, I'm like, you know what? My girls have never seen me without a beard and they know daddy smokes cigars. Every picture my daughters have ever drawn, it's dad with this big ass beard and a cigar. So like, that's how they associate that. And like, they love riding my old F100. So like I know what they like. And I'm trying to leave them something that they'll enjoy. And because I want to like raise these little girls that are financially and emotionally stable enough that they can choose somebody, not feel they need somebody to exist. And
Right.
unfortunately, I think a lot of females fall into that line. And I don't want that for my daughters.
I would agree with that. I have a 4-year-old, And it's the same thing. Like I don't want her to be dependent on somebody else. I want her to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and grow up knowing she can do whatever the hell she wants.
Exactly. I mean, when we lived on the farm, when my eldest, she's 14 now. By the time she was 5, I'd put her on a set of tracks or deers or something in our back pasture. Kid was tracking deer, before she started kindergarten. And I think she got her first gun when she was like 2 or 3, like a little 22 bolt action rifle. Like they fish, they hunt, they're itty bitties. I mean, now they're grown up. My eldest is now like 5'8". She's almost staring me in the eyes, and she's too cool now to hang out with me, but it's still there. If I'm like, hey, we're going to go mudding or we're going to go off-roading, poof, right to the truck, like, let's go.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
Exactly. My 11-year-old, I actually, we were out on a trail recently, and, it was a 4Runner. Like, I just got like, it's a little bit lifted, but, I'm like, I stopped the truck and she's like, what are we doing? I'm like, get in a driver's seat. And she's like, what? I made her drive, and she was apprehensive at first. It was automatic. So it's basically like the go-karts they grew up with. I explained that. And by the time we got half a mile down the trail, next thing you know, the kid's doing like 25, 30 miles an hour down the trails, like going over whoop-de-doos. I'm like, all right, I guess you're having fun. She's like, yeah. I'm like, you're having fun. I got a video of it. Like, she's like, this is awesome. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. That's why I made you do it. I'm sure now every time we get in it, she's going to want to drive.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So,
You've created that monster.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is.
It absolutely is.
So family is very important to you, and you bring that to the business side too.
Yeah.
Because you've surrounded yourself with people like Donovan.
It's like my retarded little brother.
God damn it.
You've surrounded yourself with people that you love, that you enjoy being around, and you've created a family here.
Yes, absolutely.
Like you were introducing me to everybody here in the warehouse, and you were like, this kid's got a great work ethic, and this guy's from Nigeria, and like their backgrounds, where they're from, what they do. It is a family here.
Of course it is. If you don't have family, what the fuck's the point in all of this?
Bingo.
Yeah. Have you seen any Fast and the Furious movie?
No, I haven't. As a matter of fact,
you haven't?
It's about family.
Oh shit, that's right.
That's a pretty good Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
that's
thanks.
pretty good. Yeah. I think I've seen the first 2, and then I was like, they're just
they're
cars
all-
doing.
your head,
they're
grow
all
8
terrible.
inches, and get cut, and you're good.
They're all terrible
They
movies.
get rid of the jelly rolls and.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the cigar industry as a whole. It's pretty incestuous, which is kind of like the dirty little secret. Everybody kind of deals with everybody else. And I was telling you beforehand.
Saying put your sister to the test? What are we getting at?
No, not that. Somebody.
I'm not that much Southern. I'm just saying.
Somebody in the industry told me that it's like the industry's like a poker table in the Old West. You've got everybody above the table shaking hands, drinking, laughing, having a good time, but under the table, the guns are drawn. It is very cutthroat.
Right.
Like how do you navigate that as a creator? And then Donovan, how do you navigate that as a rep? Because I know reps can be just as backstabbing as the guys that they work for sometimes.
Well, I try to. You kind of have to gauge it based on past experiences, and it's not like you're using a cookie cutter kind of thing, but you can tell when an individual is not, reciprocating your energy, especially if it's over the phone, not as much, but especially when it's in person, you can definitely tell if that's being reciprocated or not. That's very important, at least for me, when it comes to business, and that's like, I don't know if you remember Jeremy, the guy that was from Dubai, that he was like preparing us for a business proposal in Dubai. And he's like, they have to like you. They have to like you first.
Yes.
It's not about the money. They can do business with anyone else. They have to like you first.
That's true.
And that's very true. And it's funny because that's how I am. I think that's how it should be, really.
Yeah, you're selling yourself before you sell the product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say more than you sell the product, to be honest. I mean, we're sales reps. I mean, we wear multiple hats. I mean, D's got his own line of product he's coming out with soon as well. So, I mean,
really?
Yeah. Why don't you tell him about Rough Draft?
Oh, yeah. So I want to it's going to tie into a whole subscription box thing. But basically, Rough Draft is going to be like a tool. It's really not to make money on it at first. It's going to be more of a tool for cigar lounges to basically gauge what cigar that they want as a private label for themselves. So basically, it'll have like a little hashtag that's editable. And so, the owner, when they order the cigars, it's a little 4-pack. And it'll have the most popular sellers.
Robustos.
It'd be a Robusto 4-pack, yeah. So
not little.
Maduro, Cameroon, what is it? Habano and a Candela.
Oh, wow.
Or a Connecticut. Candela, I think I'm going to leave out for like another 4-pack. But yeah.
Candelas are kind
basically-
of like people either love Candelas or they hate Candelas.
Right.
Yeah, we have a really good Candela.
We
That's
do
what he
love
was
mean
saying.
Candela.
Yeah,
So it's weird. Like I like Candela and Maduro. That's about it. Please, I digress. Go back.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, it'd be like an immediate feedback thing. So through Instagram, and each cigar is going to have their own little hashtag, and then the cigar bar can go on those individual hashtags and see what the feedback is, good and bad. So they don't end up wasting money or like time on a whole project that's really not going to go anywhere if their customers are not going to like it.
That's so my biggest pet peeve with the cigar industry as a whole is, and especially lounges, they don't use social media, I don't think, to their advantage. They really don't.
No.
Why is that?
I think mostly is because most of them don't think they need it.
Yeah, I was gonna say arrogance, maybe a little bit. Like we've grown at the rate we've grown because we use social media.
Because it's like
attention is the asset. If
Absolutely.
anybody ever hears what we're talking about right now, attention is your asset, good or bad. I mean,
if it's not broken, don't fix it. No, fuck you. Put rockets on it.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
That's it.
And
right
glitter. It stands out even more. I
Yeah.
fucking hate glitter.
It
But I'm
gets
just
everywhere.
saying,
rockets and glitter,
it's like
new
herpes
cigar
of the art
coming out.
world, you know?
2021.
Like, exactly. Like, no, seriously. Like it is so much. It is attention is the asset. I mean, I've bought different vehicles just to go to different lounges because when you roll up, people are like, oh, it automatically sets a different mind frame of how that person perceives you. It's playing a game. I know it's playing a game. You know what? If it's up to me, I'm in a pair of seersucker shorts and barefoot around my house with a black shirt on most of the time. Like,
Yeah.
but when I go out, I'll dress a certain way, and I'll actually curtail the way I dress based upon where I'm going. I mean, that's being a chameleon. But I mean, the name of the game is you're trying to speak to your audience. So who cares?
Right.
I adjust my speech pattern. I will adjust my speech pattern based upon who I'm around. Like, we're sales reps. At the end of the day, you want to make that money, but simultaneously you want to make people feel comfortable too. So there's a balance that you have to play between those things. But
But that's the world of business.
absolutely,
I mean, that's how business is done, right?
And it's crazy because you have to mix the two. You're right. Because business, period, you kind of have to be a chameleon, right? But the cigar industry, you have to have some sort of like tiny little thing of genuine Donovan or
Absolutely.
Jeremy or, Ed, because you can kind of fish that out. Like within 2-3 phone calls of Kingsleaf in South Carolina, I just closed a deal with them. I was on a first name basis and we're cursing every third word. Mm-hmm. I felt really good about the phone call. You know what I mean? I was like, this is cool. I'm talking with the owner. I'm talking with the decision maker,
Yeah.
Yep.
and we're chill. We cut past the hi. This is Donovan with MJ for your cigar. You know what I mean? Like
There's his business voice right
yeah,
there.
it's so.
there's a couple tones higher too. Right away.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Donovan. How are you doing?
It puts him right at ease, gets him right in the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get
Light a
that.
candle in the office.
Absolutely. I mean, I got, and that's the cool thing. I mean, and you really develop some really, really good relationships with some of the clients. I mean, I got guys now, we just talk to BS, I mean, it started out this way, but we'll check in. Like I got a guy, it's Destination Galveston out in Texas. He was my very first private label contract. I mean, I was green like a week into this and I landed my very first, white label, a private label contract. And now, when they had the big snow thing, everything froze over. I was calling him up, hey man, how's your family doing? Like, it transcends that, and it does go back to that. It is communal based. You're right. It is incestuous in that concept that everybody knows everybody. But and I got a guy. He's in Baltimore, Maryland. It's like Mount Washington Cigars. His name's Charlie. He is rough around the edges. He's no bullshit. I mean, he'll literally call me up and he's like, what's up, fucko? Like it's just like, or when he's mad about something, like say maybe something didn't work out right, or it's just something that, maybe instead of it getting in like a product getting in a private label because like, customs held us up, something, he'll call me up cussing me out. And I'll just be like, whoa, calm the fuck down. Like, like we're cool, chill out. Like, so it gets to a friendship. And you lose the premises of it just being business, but you can only do that when you put down that facade too.
Right,
So
you have to
there's a
build that
balance.
foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to build the foundation with
Yeah.
somebody and build a relationship, and then they get to know you, you get to know them, and you get to find out where that line is.
I mean, I'm glad I haven't started getting dick pics from somebody drunk in the middle of the night yet. I'm really hoping it never happens, except maybe Donovan.
I was going to say, I'm surprised Donovan hasn't sent you any yet.
No, I'm thankful he hasn't. I mean, I'll show my BBC, but that's a whole different story.
That's something completely different.
That the BBC gets wrapped like, and it's not just me. Like that shit pops up all over the time because like how many people get to joke about having a BBC in their mouth?
Right. I can't wait to use
It's
the
a good gag
hashtag
gift. No pun
hashtag
intended.
BBC.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to get a whole different set of eyes on that
Yes, it will.
Instagram and Facebook post.
we actually
Yeah, which is funny because you can buy it as a gag gift, but and then it ends up actually being a good cigar, and you're like,
it really is a
this
good
is a
smoke.
really good cigar.
And
It's like
that's
now
the
you have to
thing.
go back and buy a pack of BBCs.
Exactly. And see, and that's the whole point. We're laughing about it. Like, who the fuck would ever think something like that would work? And the thing is, we use such good quality tobacco. The son of a bitch actually tastes good. I'm actually rebranding. I mean, it's going to be the BBC, but we're actually redoing all the artwork, changing out the bands to make it step up to the quality of the cigar. Like when we went from like, it's an OK 660, the band kind of fit it marketing wise. It worked. But now the cigar's so damn good. It's like, well, now the band makes it look cheap. So we're retooling everything. I'll probably dump $1,500 into new dyes and new plates just for this next run that comes out to like, so the band fits the quality of the cigar. It really is. And again, like it's gonna be an eternal joke. I mean, like, you want to put a BBC in your mouth or what? Like, I look for the opportunity for somebody to buy one and give it to their buddy to smoke, not knowing they have a BBC in their mouth.
And then say, hey, how do you like that BBC in your mouth? Yeah.
Again,
It sells
it's the
itself.
ever-giving joke.
Do you find yourself doing that a lot with the creative process where you come up with something and then you're retooling it later on because you're like, oh, this is like, it's better than I thought it was and this is going to work better? And
honestly, I try and foresee all those things.
that's impossible, isn't it?
Well, okay, and don't say anything. So, like, I was a fine arts major. And just don't fucking say anything. Like, he picks it. He's like, we get it. We know you went to art school. Like, I switched majors, right?
And it'll be things that make no sense.
And I want to,
He'll be
like,
describing
I want to throw
something
a
that has
fucking
nothing
brick
to
at
do
his
with art
head.
school, and I'll be like, "We get it, Jeremy. You went to art school."
What I was trying to say is, in the creative design, you had to sit down and look at color theory, surface text. I mean, you had to think all those variables up, and then you have to go through the creative process enough to finally refine it enough to actually make your finished product. If you want to actually graduate or get good grades.
Right.
So like you would have to go through the creative process over and over, work it through your head, draw them out before you'd actually make the product, whatever it was, whatever medium I was working in. So like it did teach me to like try and think ahead, not just be like, hey, this works and then slap a sticker on it and let it run. Like I had to think. So it's helped the learning curve, but there still is always some tweaking and stuff that comes along the way. Be it whatever it is.
What's the learning curve like for the industry? Because we've said it can be cutthroat at times. Like, how do you find your niche where you fit in the industry? Because it's not easy.
All right. Well, I'm going to clarify. In this group, I'm the only white guy. So I kind of joke that I'm the token white guy. Like I just want to get a shirt just as a token across my chest. Like when we're at a party or something or with a lounge and a cop show up, they like kick me out the door. Like you go talk to him. He's less likely to shoot you. Like so. I mean, it's interesting. To go back. Sorry, see the ADD kicked in. What did you just ask me?
The learning curve in the getting into the industry,
okay.
Finding your place, because it can be cutthroat. It can be there's not a seat at the table for you. It's saturated already.
Man, nah. Here's the thing. There's 3 of us sitting here having this interview. If the 3 of us decided we wanted to start our own cigar business, we just do it. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? We're the new kids on the block. Who gives a fuck? If we have a product that's just as good as somebody else's or better, I don't care. If anything, this
We
industry.
get it, Jeremy. You went to art school.
He's gonna get smacked upside the head with a brick. One of those bricks that's like $1,200 says Supreme on it. Now that's
Oh my God.
That's who
I wouldn't be
cashed
mad.
in on going to art
I
school.
wouldn't be mad.
Just saying. Like, so here's the thing. You would think. And I get it. Everybody wants to protect their little fiefdom. Nobody wants to lose business to somebody else. But simultaneously, we should be welcoming and embracing new companies because that means the industry's growing. And where there's growth, there's power in numbers. I mean, our coins say e pluribus unum for a fucking reason.
Yep.
Like, dude, like welcome everybody to the table. Now, going back to people throwing shade or having attitudes, I mean, that's unfortunate, but ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not gonna fuck with somebody that wants to have an attitude. You don't want you want to have an attitude? Cool, go have an attitude with somebody else. I got 5 other people. We've got 5 other people. There's enough room at the table. If somebody wants to be a prick, I can just sit at another table.
Yeah,
and you can sit at another table. Like those people, I think you, sir. Those people will get weeded out with time. Like, why you want to bring that negative energy?
Nothing works well when you think like that. When you go about,
That's just
thinking
negative
like
energy,
that.
dude.
yeah. There's a couple of lounges in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places, where the owners know each other. They've known each other since Korea, right?
Okay.
And they say that a rising tide raises all ships, and that's how they do business. And if a rep comes in and wants to sell a new line at the shop, they'll call the other shop and say, "Hey, are you guys carrying this? Are you interested in carrying this? No. Do you mind if we carry it? No. Cool." And that's how they do business.
That's great.
But in my state, nobody in the Des Moines area, nobody gets along. Really? They will not work with any of the other lounges at all.
That doesn't make sense to me because this is one of the few industries where you can do collaborations with events. So like you can't do a collaboration with an ale house and a fucking, steak and shake. You can't do a collaboration with a neighborhood pub and another neighborhood pub, but you can totally do it with a cigar bar.
Yeah.
Even if it's 2-3 cities away, if it's at a reasonable driving distance, you can even make like a cigar bar crawl. If they're close enough. And this is one of the few industries that you can do this in, and it really blows my mind how every cigar bar is not just friendly with each other.
Yeah.
We all know each other already.
Are
Why
they
not
friendly
be on good
here
terms?
in the Orlando
Most
area?
of the time, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, absolutely. And everybody knows everybody. And I don't know. That's insane.
You'll see owners of cigar shops hanging out at other cigar shops.
Absolutely.
That's the way it should be.
Spending money, not asking for discounts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Now, in the Davenport area, which is eastern Iowa, there's 2 lounges, and they get along great. Like the members are members of each one, and they like the owners are members.
I'd like
great.
to see how their profit margins are versus the ones who argue with each other.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying?
great.
Yeah.
Because like we both know that if you know that, let's just say we both sit at 2 different lounges, or we primarily hang out. We have our main lounge, and then we have other ones we visit. If we both know that there's some kind of beef with the other one, it makes you more polarized. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Like why you wouldn't embrace that diversity. I mean, jokingly, maybe because Florida's a little different ethnically. Like we're a mixed bag down here of everything, and I don't know what it is up there. I'm assuming a lot of white. Mostly white. Like I jokingly say, I was like, I want to start a club. I'm sure they already exist. It's Bolt, but like the MCCA, like the Multicultural Cigar Association, because like we'll be sitting and it is like a tapestry of ethnicities. Like at the back of the lounge that we hang out at, it is everybody from every walk of life. We even have the occasional like the tranny that shows up in his mini skirt with his wiener almost hanging out. We're just like, some of the guys are like, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Like if he wants to smoke cigars and shoot this shit, I'm still going to refer to him as him. He can wear his skirt. I think it's fucking weird, but you know what? At the end of the day, who the
He's
fuck
probably
cares?
got a good bar story.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think Don was trying to get a Hummer off of him, but whatever.
Let's talk about diversity for just a second, because when you think about cigars, it's typically it's a fat old white guy like me that's smoking a cigar. That's typically what people think
Not
of.
down here.
But down here, it's different because of all of the Cubans that came over,
Latins in
and the
general.
Latin, right? So
And they're outbreeding us.
So how does it work down here? Is it very like there's not that stereotype of the white old guy smoking a cigar?
I think this is one of the first states that's going to start making it look cool
Yeah.
for the younger generation.
Yeah. I could have, it's so diverse.
It's little by little, it's gonna start spreading. I think through like the music industry and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Where younger people are gonna
I mean,
are gonna definitely start smoking more because it's cool. That's really all it is.
I mean, it is a cultural thing. I mean, I think we both know, like, I probably smoke cigars because of the nicotine, because like I smoke too many. But it is a time to spend with each other, like we were talking about. But we got a group. It's called JICA. Like they're artists and rappers.
Yeah.
Like we're affiliated with them
Wow.
with another
Literally
business.
right there.
Yeah, they're literally like right on the other side of this warehouse. There's another one. I mean, and they used to be in the old Nickelodeon studios where they produce. So like they produce music, rap songs. Like we actually shoot videos in this warehouse. They pull stuff in here and they do whole setups in here.
Oh wow!
So like, and they'll come and shoot scenes at the lounges when they're doing the videos for the music and stuff. So like, there's this embracing of like, the early 20s up into the mid 20s. I mean, these are all people as aspiring artists, and we're like, you know what? Come on, man. We'll embrace everything. Like the boxes you left called Chief Natural Leaf. Like we also we used to manufacture for them, but we bought them out. And they do die cut Connecticut broadleaf. They're blunt wraps. You know what? That's a growing industry.
Oh yeah.
So like we incorporate everything. That's what I said. It's almost like a hydra, man. Like there's there's heads everywhere, or maybe an octopus. There's tentacles everywhere. And like, because you realize like most millionaires have at least 7 passive streams of passive income.
Yep.
Like we sit here and sell cigars, but you know what? I flip vintage cars. I've restored Model Ts. Every day we're going back and forth. Like we're messing with cryptocurrency. We've got another group. Yeah. I mean, like we don't care.
There's all kinds of shit going on.
It's going down. Like we're doing everything. Like we'll stop in the middle of the day, or not stop, but like in the middle of like calling clients, be like, hey, dude, do you see what like DOGE is a crypto right now? Dude, all of us that are in this room, we all bought into it when it was like 5 and 6 cents a crypto or a share. I'm still going to call it a share because these are day trading. Like,
right.
So like we're sitting here and I'm like, yo, did you see it hit 59 cents earlier today? Like right before you walked in the door. Like,
did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so mad at myself for not buying in.
Dude, one of our guy here, I got to say it. So we had our guy Ed, right? Had 39,000 shares. He bought when they were like 5 cents a piece.
Right.
When it hit 9 cents a couple weeks ago, he sold out. He's like, I made $1,800. I'm like, you should have held.
Oh,
when
yeah.
that shit hit 50 cents like last week or whatever, he's like, that would have been $18,000. I'm like, yeah. And I was kind of like poking fun at him a little bit at the lounge. And we have another friend. He used to be the mayor of Longwood. He's like our age, right? Actually, he's younger than I am. And yeah, his name's Ben Paris. Like and Matt Morgan's our current mayor, like the former wrestler Matt Morgan. He's the mayor here.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's
oh, that's awesome.
He'd come hang out at my house and like smoke cigarettes behind my house so people didn't see him while he was running for mayor. Like we bullshit, right? So I'm like, so Matt Morgan's using my bathroom right now. Like it was just some weird shit, right? But like, so I'm talking with the other mayor, kind of like, you know, like, man, that sucks for Ed. And he's like, don't say shit. He's like, I bought in when I could get, it was like 0.003 cents per share. He goes, I had 230,000 shares. I sold at 9 cents.
Oh my God.
He's like, and then at that time, he's like, we were doing the math because he was sitting out back because we started talking about it. And he's like, yeah, I would have made $118,000 if I waited another 12 hours.
Oh my God.
So when that shit hit 60 cents today, I like text him like, yeah, you would have made like $280,000. He's just like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. That's awesome.
You know, but it's weird. Like, so we're doing that. Like, we're bullshitting like that. And he's like, oh, you want to see what we got? Like, this dude, he's cool as fuck. The mayor, the current mayor's cool as fuck too, but like the prior one. And like, and that's the thing. We all hang out at the same lounge. Like every one of the power players hangs out, and they, like for our small community, like everybody's there. So like I said, you got the tranny, you got the homeless guy, you got the mayor, you've got all of us, and we're all fucking around, just enjoying life, bullshitting around tables, smoking. Like, and anything that's going on or popping off, you're going to hear about before most other people do. And again, the thing that brings us together is the cigar.
Yep.
That's
Great.
why I say it, like
From kings to street sweepers and everybody in between.
everybody in between. Absolutely. You know, and like we're actually taking an area in the back. It's under a big covered area, probably about 2,000 square foot. And we're milling the concrete and we're putting in a putting green there. So you can smoke your cigar, drink your scotch, and do putting
Oh, that's fucking cool.
all out of the weather.
That's fucking cool.
Out of the rain, at least.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about like the diversity of culture and whatnot, but women are smoking cigars more than ever before, right? And I think Instagram, we talked about social media a little bit ago. Social media has a lot to do with that because of the influencers and whatnot. Have you guys seen that? Like, are you seeing?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a good
absolutely.
thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
for
actually,
the industry, right?
I've been planning to send a couple samples to a couple influencers that are female influencers.
Yeah.
And not only because they're influencers, but like you said, because they're females. So half their females or half their followers are females, and the other half are just like, you know, weirdos like me. But either way, it's gonna sell to a completely different crowd,
Right.
That it would normally hit just
Yeah.
because of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a huge game changer.
Yeah, you guys are great at using social media. You guys, well,
I bought my first computer 8 months ago. I was almost 40 before I bought a computer.
you realize it's 2021, right?
I grew up on a farm, homie.
I get that. But even like I live in Iowa, right? No, farmers knew they were using computers.
Look,
Long time
you
ago.
know, you got this many horses. They need this much feed, this much hay.
The computer's telling the same story right now. Like, I met my first Jeremy 8 years ago.
months. All
Months
right?
ago.
Like, I just got into doing social media stuff not all that long ago, and I didn't have to. Like, I prided myself. Like, here's the thing. So, I mean, I did a little bit. I guess I dabbled some, but it was like a computer I bought. Like, I used to shoot wedding photography too. But I did it for a while and I was like, this sucks. So I sold like my nice high ass expensive, you know, Canon. I marked something or other. And I went the other way. Like, I taught myself how to shoot wet plate collodion. So like the old tin types you see from the 1800s, I learned the chemistry behind it. Like, I contacted the guys, Bostic and Sullivan. out of New Mexico. I was like, hey, can you put together like an ABs, like, so we can get around, because you use ether, like potassium cyanide's the fix. Like, I'm like, can we maybe figure out something a little safer so I don't fucking die? So like, I went the other way. Like for me, I was always running the opposite away from digital technology, but I also realized that for marketing purposes, everybody's running that way. I want to go this way and stand out. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do with cigars too.
You guys are succeeding with that, so for sure.
That's the idea. And like I said, for me, I'm 8 months into it, and Donovan, I mean, he's like 12, so he's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go. There. Yeah, let me know when you hit 40.
Okay.
Shit starts going downhill real quick.
Think about it, you'll be 70 when he's 40.
Oh, dude, I'll be dead. Let me ask you this. I'll start with Donovan.
60, sorry.
Yeah, trust me.
My mathematics ain't there.
Yeah, mine either. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, Donovan? In the industry, out of the industry? What are you doing in 10 years?
In the industry,
Hobos
but
behind a
not
dumpster.
in the industry. What'd you say?
Hobos behind a dumpster.
Oh my god! Yeah,
dumpster.
playing a character from Emmy winning for an okay. Definitely still within the cigar industry, but not just exclusively. Like I want to do this subscription box that's going to feed into all my clients' cigars. So I'm gonna every client that I have that has a private label, I'm gonna have them featured in the subscription box. So it just feeds into it.
Right.
Also my ideas, and then going around different cigar bars collecting different items, super rare stuff. And it doesn't have to be cigars. It could be humidors and like crazy rare cutters and like jewelry that has to do with it. But that aspect for sure, it's gonna be forever, because I don't see why it shouldn't be.
No, for sure.
And I always joke around. I tell them we're going to be the celebrity of celebrities. Like celebrities are going to react to us how normal people would react to them. And like, things are happening here and there. And Chris will look at me like, bro, you're right. Like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Like the Champs trade show.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the guy's name? I forgot. I got 5 on it. What's his name?
I don't fucking know.
Anyway, he's a rapper. That song, I got 5 on it. They did an interview with him. Chris's girlfriend, she did an interview with him.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Cushmouth?
Yes.
The guy he was with?
That was
okay.
See?
I didn't even know that.
See?
Here's the thing. So I didn't know. Like, here's the thing. So she got the interview because they're all sitting outside, like smoking joints outside of the hotel. And I saw this huge crowd with like an entourage. And it was just like this wall of huge African Americans, right? And I'm 5'9". I'm like looking up to these sons of bitches. Like they're huge. And we were trying to promote Chief. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I grabbed my sample pack and I just made a beeline. I cut right through these sons of bitches. Right
shit's about to go down.
Grilled. I mean, this dude's grilled out. I mean, like if he would have jumped in the pool, he'd have drowned from all the gold and diamonds he had on, right? Looked like King Tut. Like he jacked his sarcophagus, like, and I rolled right up to him and I went right to his face. I mean, like from me to him, I'm like, yo, you ever heard of Chief? And I just stuck it in his face. And he's like, look, he's like, you got some balls. I was like, yes, I do. You want to try these out or what? And he's like, all right. And he ripped one open. He rolled up. He's like, this is good. He's like, let's do an interview. I'm like, nah, I ain't pretty enough. So we got my buddy's girlfriend to do it because she's a cutie, half redneck from Alabama and half Colombian, like she's on point. Yeah. And she fired it off and like, it's just taken off since then.
Yeah. After the interview, I was like, what'd I tell you? And she's like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. So it's like me having the balls and the initiative cigars. And her having the initiative to do that. So it's all a symbiotic relationship in this industry. And I wish people just fucking get past the ego enough to realize that like, dude, if you do well, I do well. If we all do well. So like put down the pretentious fucking attitude and just fucking smoke a cigar.
Absolutely. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see Deep South in 10 years? And where do you see the industry in 10 years?
Let's start with the first question. Where do I see myself in 10 years?
Yeah.
Probably sitting on my porch smoking a cigar or on my boat. Or
so answering that question, Jesus Christ, art school.
Fuck off. No, seriously. I don't know. I mean, 10 years is a long time from now.
It is a long time.
I mean, the reality.
But what's your goal from 10 years? Like, what do you want to be doing?
Just being happy smoking cigars and doing pottery in my shop. While still smoking lots of cigars. Like I would like to, in that period of time, I'd like to have it functioning enough where like it's autonomous enough. Like I don't need to make millions. I want to have enough where I can hire enough people that they keep the machine going and Daddy just collects a little bit of that residual income.
You're just comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the reality is like I have an old 1974 Dodge Travco. They're kind of shaped like the old Airstreams, but they're right. I want to have one of those. Like I've already been collecting parts. Like I want to I lived in it for like 2 years after my divorce. Like I made it into a micro home and I lived in that bitch. That's just what I lived in. So like I want to like completely redo it. I want to travel the country and just market my cigars and smoke way too many cigars and go fly fishing when I can and live a good life. Like that's really it. Like I do. I want to wake up and I want to be like, you know what, where do I want to go today? And like maybe metaphorically throw a dart at a map or just be like, you know what, fuck it. The fish are running good. I'm going to stay here today. You know, come back to,
that's what I want to be doing.
Yeah. You know, come back here on occasion as needed because this will always be home. But I want to wander. Like I said, I spent the first 36 years of my life in servitude to animals. Like I haven't traveled enough. And then as soon as I had the chance to leave, I got a chance to buy this Victorian house I have, which I'm now restoring. And I took every dime I had to buy into it. So it's like I'm 40, like I'm halfway through my book statistically by, you know, the male life expectancy, like the book's halfway over. So I got a little bit of living to do. And, that's the reason I do this and I have the business and we have the printing business. Like I'm trying to generate, we're building those things up. So
yeah, you work to live, not live to work.
Yeah. And I exactly. But right now I don't actually, I mean, the reality is I could take off for like a year if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
But you don't want to.
I don't want to.
You enjoy what you're doing.
Absolutely. This is at work.
Obvious.
I'm at work right now.
Yeah.
We're smoking cigars on a leather couch. Like you just pet Tupac, the cat that walked by.
Yeah.
He meowed at you. Like we got a Tupac. We've got all this fucking diversity. Like, and it's right here, you know, and if I want to, and when we're done, I get in my car and I go home, you know, it's like a mile away from here. Yeah. Like I kind of pretty much literally have a life that I can do whatever I want already. But, I spent about 3 months before my first daughter was born, my ex-wife and I. And, like, we traveled all over the Southeast. We went up to Illinois. That was unmemorable. No offense if you're from Illinois. But,
yeah,
all I did is I managed to go pee out in the field and get a bunch of ticks on my legs.
Yeah.
You know, so
welcome to Illinois.
You know,
that should be their catchphrase. Welcome to Illinois, pee in a field and get ticks on your legs.
Exactly. Like I remember because we'd been on the road. We were on the road for 13 weeks straight, just traveling, like just doing whatever we wanted. Like we'd sold our first investment property. My ex-wife and I were just like, fuck it, let's go. Like I bought a Carmen Ghia when I was up in North Carolina, like traveled to Blue Ridge. I go do landscape photography, like as the sun came up. Life was awesome. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
You know, like it was really cool being like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Like, you know,
that's the way to go. Though.
Fucking go have breakfast. Like,
yeah.
It was great. Like, so I kind of want to get back to it. I'm not going to say like 3 month stints, but if I can do that for 2 or 3 weeks, absolutely. I will say one of the other memorable parts of when I went there is I remember I stopped in a gas station and I was just craving fruit. Right. And I was like, you know, down here we have like 7-Elevens and Circle K's and stuff like that. And like you can go in and you can pretty much find everything except the kitchen sink, literally. And I was like, do you got any fruit? And she's like, no, we got fruit flavored candy. Does that count? I was just like, this is okay. Cool. Thank you, Illinois.
You were in the back roads of Illinois.
I was just, kind of not too far from St. Louis. Like,
like down south next to Missouri.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I remember we went into St. Louis and the big arch was right there and the water had been low for some reason. It was like, we're talking 15 years ago. The water level had dropped though. And we were right by the park right there where the arch is. And bear in mind, my ass had never been to the state my entire life. Never even been to that area at all. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, where in the hell do they have alligators up here? And I got a picture of it. There's a damn alligator by the bank right there in that part of the river. And I had a cousin that turns out she was one exit up the road, you know, call family. Next thing you know, like we meet up and I was like, yeah, check this out. She's like, I've never seen an alligator here my entire damn life. A damn alligator. I was like, that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
So that's my memory from St. Louis. An alligator, just like they have here.
So St. Louis is an alligator and Illinois is ticks while peeing.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. We went to the Mark Twain National Forest. That was kind of uneventful. My brother graduated from Fort Leonard Wood, so we're going up there to see his graduation before he got shipped out to Iraq.
You are definitely an outdoorsman. You love the outdoors.
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you see Deep South Cigars in 10 years?
Making millions and fulfilling. No, honestly, dude, I
hope it happens.
So do I. Absolutely. Like I said, I want us to eventually grow into having a lounge or a series of lounges. Really, just, I mean, that is a super valid question. I don't know if I can answer this yet. I would like to grow and scale up to the point where we have that. I want to have a place so when I get a little bit older, I'm 40, I'm not, ancient yet, but like I would like in the next 10 years to be like, well, what do you want to do? To whoever I'm with. Let's go chill at the lounge. Like, I want to be the guy that has my own little spot in the lounge where I can sit and smoke cigars. And there's a sign like, don't touch this fucking chair. It's Jeremy's. You know what I'm saying? Like the rest of it, like you hoodlums do whatever you want to do. Like, I want to be able to another medium I'd always like to learn is like taxidermy. Like, I want to do some weird fucked up taxidermy of like, like stupid little animals, like maybe mixed medium taxidermy. And I want to hide it in my Deep South Cigar Lounge. Just like little stupid stuff like that.
I'm waiting for Donovan to say, yeah, we get it. You went to art school.
Yeah.
See, that's why I do it.
He's going to get hit in the face.
I don't even have to say anything.
Wouldn't it be fun though to like have some fucked up taxidermy hiding in places?
Maybe. I don't, not my thing. Not my thing, but
From
maybe.
the South.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
that's one thing though I can't wait for.
The taxidermy?
No. I kind of like answered
the BBC's.
our question.
The
Like,
BBC.
I think he's going to agree with me here. The field trips we're going to do,
Yes.
visiting our clients. Right?
That's what we're looking forward to as
Dude,
well.
that's what I'm looking forward to. I just thought of that right now
Yeah.
when he had.
Doesn't
this
that get to
story
be a
about
grind, though?
ticks.
I don't know.
Like,
No, I mean, getting the hell out of here for a little bit. I haven't taken a vacation in 10 years.
Oh, jeez.
I haven't
So imagine,
left this area
imagine
in
if we
10 years.
all like got a route right for our clients and just like a
Take
whole
like a-
month,
like a
just
month road
fucking
trip.
just cigar
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. And then we're all on first name basis with the owners of these places, so it's gonna be pretty much VIP. You know what I mean? Treatment for
Yeah.
all of us.
we gotta-
in like a little cigar shaped bus.
There you go. You would pick something that's kind of shaped like a dildo.
Like a BBC.
But like we actually have a client of mine. He's it's FDR. He's out of Atlanta, like the Stone Mountain area, and he's going to be having a launch from like we were just friends, and he's having a launch. So like I kind of want to get in the car and go up there and just be there to support him.
Yeah.
And you were going back to earlier. You're talking about the growth of cigars. What was it, the black community? Mm-hmm. The fastest growing demographic some of that I've seen is actually black females. They are the
for sure.
fastest growing
For
demographic
sure,
in the cigar
yeah.
industry. I mean,
Yeah, I just closed the deal with Rodney Hubbard with his
there you go.
Sweet Jasmine.
Yeah,
for his sister.
Exactly. There's Ancestry Cigars. She's the first African American tobacco license holder in Illinois.
Wow.
And it's Ancestry Cigars. Like I printed her bands. Like she's a client. So it's kind of cool. Like she's come down here a couple times. She's actually talking about relocating into this area. So like there's definitely a growth. Like I would have to say a large portion of our private label and like stuff like that is they're they definitely are not white. So
No.
it's fastest growing.
It really is, and it never used to be that. I think that, and to me, that just kind of goes to the amount of disposable income because we all basically roll up money and smoke it.
Yes,
It goes to the amount of disposable income that people have now, and it doesn't matter what race, what sex, they've got it, and that's a good thing.
All 52 genders.
That's right. Where do you see the industry in 10 years? Because the industry's constantly changing. It just even in the few years that I've been kind of watching it and trying to digest it, it's constantly changing. And there are as you pet Donovan once again, there are, like I've said, it can be cutthroat at times. It can be very backstabbing, and there's always infighting, it seems. Where do you see the industry in 10 years?
That's like saying, where do you see the state of our union in 10 years?
I'd rather not think about that.
I mean, I just kind of see myself going out in a pile of brass around me. No, I take that back if anybody from the government's listening.
Right. I lost all my guns in a boating accident.
Exactly. We all suck at boating.
Yeah, we're terrible at it.
Wow, that's a super valid question. That's a really complex one because like you just mentioned, there's whole new demographics coming into the equation. Here's the thing. I think we all know that the products are mainly coming out of certain regions of the world. Like, I think that if they start becoming, how things change there politically could affect the supply, which could affect us geopolitically. Like speaking, like if let's just say for some Nicaragua starts playing, something changes where it's harder to get the products. I mean, you could have different labor issues. Like that's a lot of variables to happen. And I know there's a big push for globalism. And I'm not that guy that's pushing for it. Like you never know how that could affect trade. Now, do I see, like, let's just say you have the product here. I would love to see more small businesses starting up. Like, when America started over a century ago manufacturing automobiles, it was over 100 automobile manufacturers in this country. Now you got what? the big three,
Yep.
basically. I mean, there's more than that, but it really is the big three. So, I mean, there's always this push for consolidation for stuff, but then you create monopolies and then you lose freedom of choice and you lose diversity. But in a lot of ways, I almost see, and I'm only going to reflect this, and maybe I'm biased in saying this, because like with MJ Frias, anybody can start a private label. You know what I'm saying? Like quite literally, if you get your license, give us a call.
It really is crazy.
You have your
how
own
easy it
product
is.
line. Like I said, we grow it, we roll it, we make the boxes, we print the bands, we do the graphic work, we handle importation. Anything you can think of, I can give you a finished product delivered to your door. So when I say that I and it's because
And
I'm
we
not,
can sell it for you.
yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. And we can even do that. I mean, like quite literally, you can have a concept and it can become a reality. So for me, I don't have the limiting factor anymore being on this side of the business of thinking it's hard. Like I remember when we were when we sold for retail, you know, for Corona, like you'd see this is like, there was like this mysticism and this awe behind it. Like, oh, this company came out with this new blend, you know, like Fuentes 858 or whatever. Like,
Right.
I loved it. Right. I still think it's an okay cigar, but now being on this side, like the cigar we smoked here.
Really good.
Right. Exactly. I compare that to the Fuente, and I'm not trying to say anything negative. I love the 858, but I'm saying like I used to think of like a lot of the Fuente stuff as being great, and I'm not dogging them because they make phenomenal. I love their what is it, Casa Cubas?
Yeah, Casacuba and
The
the
Cas-
858 Rosado.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're phenomenal cigars, but like I look on the other side, and that's their own house. But like, you know, some of these other brand names, and I only brought them up because they're a name that every fucking buddy knows. But you know, we manufacture for some big ass names. Like most people listening to this right now, they've been in a lounge that has our product in there that we made naked and somebody else put a band on. And when I see how inexpensive it is, it's really not that much money to start your own brand. So like, I hope there's a diversification in the products. Like I hope there's more people starting it up.
But isn't the industry, and I mean this in, well, I don't. I was going to say I mean this in the nicest possible way, but I really don't. The industry is really against demystifying starting your own brand, starting your own cigar line.
Yeah, it's not my problem. It's their problem. Maybe they should make a better product.
And that's just it. It goes back to, we think a rising tide raises all ships, and they just want to, like you said, like hold on to their fiefdom.
Yeah, and you know what happens when you don't evolve?
You die.
Right. So welcome new blood or get the fuck out of the way.
No, I agree with that. And there's one guy in the industry that I think gets that, Nick Perdomo.
Yeah.
He's always helping smaller companies out, and he's doing that for a lot of guys that I know in the industry. But there are others, and I won't mention names, but there are others who are vehemently against it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can get it, because if you know somebody else is buying a cigar and they're not buying your cigar, that means less revenue coming into your coffers at the end of the
But
day.
that's the thing. It's like, why don't you think of it like this? They're buying cigars.
Right.
So
Precisely.
like, make sure that you have a product that's good, and if as long as they're buying cigars, they're going to come back to you no matter what.
Absolutely, because
That's it.
because you said freedom of choice. I
Yeah.
I have 3 wine indoors at home. I have about 1,000 in my stash at home. It's not just one brand.
You
Yeah,
bump those numbers.
those are rookie numbers. How many do you have in your stash?
I smoked at my house currently.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a few thousand.
Jesus Christ.
But here's the thing: you want stuff to age. You smoke
do.
like 10 a day. Do the math. Like you have to have a few to let them age long enough if you're doing that. But I mean, I also work somewhere where I get them
Where
at
you
a
get
very,
'em,
very
right.
fair price.
Right.
So I don't expect the average person. If your average $10 stick retail, $15 stick retail cost us like $2, you know, you do the math there, and it's like, well, I can get 7.5 cigars for what you're going to pay retail.
And I think that's part.
Hypothetically
Yeah,
saying.
and that's why they don't want it demystified, because
Well, there's a lot to it more than, I'll be honest. Like just like getting the cigars, not so much. You have the OTP taxes. Somewhere like New York, it's like 78% OTP. So for every dollar, you got to spend 78 cents
Yeah.
in taxes, right? So I can understand there is overhead, there's marketing, there's cost, there's a sales rep cost. Because like we do our sales, like we get 10 cents of every dollar it sells for. So like there is an accrued overhead, just like anything else. Like if you buy a $50,000 F-150, even if they're that cheap anymore, I don't even know because I wouldn't buy one. The truck didn't cost $50,000 to make. It probably cost more like $20,000 in materials to make. And then you have all the union fees and all the other crap. So like I'm saying those numbers, but really the cost incurred is more. But I mean, if you wanted your own product line, we get you out the door to set price. You're at least triple key. You can keystone. To B2B, you can keystone. B2C, you're triple keystoning. I mean, like they're better profit margins than a drug dealer, and it's legal.
right.
Legit better profit margins than drug dealing.
Yeah. For sure.
It's phenomenal.
But I think that's why they don't want to demystify. They don't want all these people coming in and messing up what they've got, they think. But it's not. It's the freedom of choices. I don't want to smoke the same 3-4 cigars every day for the rest of my life. I want to go to the humidor and go, well, fuck. What am I going to smoke today? And like have too many choices and go, pick this one.
I smoke like 8 or 9 of those at least daily. So I love that.
Oh, that's a good cigar. That is a fucking great cigar. What's the name of it?
We call it the Royale, the Private Royale.
Where can you get it?
Call me up.
Yeah, that's one of the private
321.
Yeah,
it's a private label one. Yeah, it's 321-947-8638. Jeremy, call me up, man.
Call Jeremy.
Donovan at mjfreeascigars.com.
There you go.
There you are.
So it's quite literally it's what we do. Like that is our highest prime. I'm not going to joke. Like that right there. That Royale is our highest prime cigar we have. But even our house blends are almost damn near that good. And they're $2 a stick for the house blends. Like that unit you smoked.
Yeah.
It's $3.20 a unit.
Jesus. That's better than some $15 cigars I've smoked.
You're damn right it is.
I mean, it really is. Right. Yeah.
No. But seriously.
I'll edit that out.
You know, I mean, and here's the thing. Like, and you buy bulk, you're getting them even cheaper.
Yeah. That's just crazy.
And that's the thing. Like, I've actually said to people, I'm like, dude, just get your tobacco license and buy them from us and smoke them your own. Like, you'd save more money getting your own damn license. No. Hint.
Right.
And then the money you saved, you can make a private label to pay for your hobby.
To pay for the hobby.
No,
it's a hobby, not a habit. It's a hobby.
It's quite literally what I've done. I mean, I just offset my costs.
My wife would probably appreciate that.
She seriously, I could probably sit down and articulate why you starting your own business would save her money in the long run.
It's true.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
It really is.
It really is.
Wife, take note. I'm just saying.
She doesn't listen to this. She's just like, you're going to do cigar stuff, aren't you? Yep, I'll be back.
Yeah. Oh, see, I've kind of gotten back into the dating field a little bit.
Oh, how's that going?
And that's my litmus test. Like, I'll show up with a cigar. I've had a couple be like, oh my God, like, it's so cool. I love what you do, blah, 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 blah. And I'll like have a cigar and they're like, so do you think like you could give up smoking cigars or not smoke before you see me? I'm like, well, it was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't give a fuck. Either you're on board or you're off the ship. Like, that's it. The cigar, like.
What's the ratio to those who are okay with it and those who are like, no, can you change?
I'd say 70% nay, 30% yay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's higher than I thought it would be for the yays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being, but honestly, I mean, seriously, that's like my litmus test. Like,
wow,
and like quite literally, that's it.
But down here, there are more cigar smokers, I would imagine, in Florida than anywhere else.
I don't know, to be honest. I've never spent enough time in other regions to be able to decide that. I mean, I know if you go to a golf course, there are pretty high numbers that smoke cigars. But if you're going to the American Lung Association, you're not going to find a lot of cigar smokers. So, like, right. Where are we hunting for these numbers?
Real quick before I get out of here, like, how did COVID affect you guys at all? Were you guys unaffected?
Bro, we exploded. We exploded. We tripled the size of our warehouse, and I would say our revenues were like 30 or 40% higher.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, COVID is great for us. And people are like, when you get back to living life post-COVID, I'm like, we didn't change a damn thing. Like, we just doing us. We sell cigars. We hang out at the lounge. Like, I actually saw some fool with a damn mask on and a hole put through it, smoking a cigar. And I'm like, what the fuck am I looking? No, he was being serious. I'm like, an older gentleman. And I'm just like I am inherently a smartass. If you haven't been able to pick up on that.
Right.
And like, I was biting my tongue to just be like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
It kind of misses the point of the mask.
Yeah. But I just thought it was funny. There's a hole right through it.
That's insane.
So no, man, nothing's changed for us. Like, you can, what was it? Biden said, you can start having maybe potentially small parties on 4th of July. I'm like, when did we stop having parties? Because I was just at a lounge. I had like 150 people in it. Like,
this is the party.
Nothing stopped, man. Like, we're still going full steam ahead. And yes, I mean, some of us have actually, tested positive. Not me personally, thankfully, but I caught it beginning of last year. You know what? I got past it,
Yeah.
So humans have been dying from things for
shot walking your
such a
doggy.
millennium.
Yep.
And it just seems all of a sudden COVID comes into the equation and they're just like, everybody has to cease to exist and we have to grind our economy to a stop. And I'm like, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying, like, really?
Yeah. There's a better way to do it.
I think it might have been a dry run to see how easy it is to control everyone.
Yes. That's
and
my
something else is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We didn't even get into the whole
it just
Agenda
seems
21
weird.
or anything. Ugh.
That could be a whole nother show.
Yay.
For
hit
sure.
the pause button. We'll start over on something else. But like, hey, we're at work right now, but we chilling.
You guys are chilling. And I appreciate the time you guys spent in inviting me down and letting me look at the warehouse. This
Thank you.
great. You guys have a great product. I can't wait to try the BBC. So
bet
look
you
for
can't.
for the review. You can't help yourself, can you?
I told you it's perfect.
automatic. It's automatic. So I'm looking forward to that. Look for that review soon. SimplyStogies.com. Jeremy, Donovan, thank you guys so much for spending some time with us. And join me next time here on Simply Stogies, where I'm not quite sure what I'll be talking about, but I promise it'll be Simply Stogies. Stay smoky, friends.
Thank you for listening to Simply Stogies. Please rate and review Simply Stogies on iTunes. You can follow James on his cigar journey on Instagram at Simply Stogies Podcast, all one word, and on Twitter at the Twitter handle at Simply Stogies.